Do you love to travel and save money? Or do you wish you could travel but money is holding you back? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Family's Flyfree podcast, where I show you how to fly your family free forever using my simple fly-free formula. I'm your host, Lynn Mettler. My family of four has mastered the art of flying free as simply as possible since 2015, and I want to show your family how to do it too. Hello, everyone, and happy July 4th if you are listening to this one in real time. Can you believe that means we are about halfway through summer already? I love summer. We do so much traveling in the summer, so I hate to see it already be halfway through. This week, I am going to share with you my thoughts on one of my favorite destinations. And I know I have a lot of favorite destinations, don't I? But we've gotten to see so many cool places over the years. But San Diego is one that my family has returned to over and over and over again because there's always something new to see and to do there, and there is just something about San Diego. So I'm sharing with you this week an older recording from inside of the Family's Flyfree membership, where I shared with my members a detailed audio tour of San Diego with my insights about why we love this city and my recommendations and tips and suggestions of where to stay and all of the amazing things that you can see and do there, from amusement parks to its mini beaches to even Comic-Con International and so much more. Now, this was recorded during COVID, but all of the information is up to date and just as helpful now as it was then. Now, our members have access to a detailed itinerary for San Diego. So if you're a member, go check that out. It's an itinerary that I personally put together that members can download and then use that itinerary for themselves or move it around and tweak it to fit what they want to do on their trip. And we've had quite a few members actually head to San Diego following in my footsteps. And I'm glad to tell you they loved it just as much as my family. So please enjoy this San Diego audio tour. I thought I would start with San Diego because it is one of my all-time favorite destinations. It's just a great all-around place to visit for all ages. As you probably know, it's known for having perfect weather, in the mid 70s most days, tons of sunny days there. It's in Southern California, so it's about 2 hours drive south of LA, and you can get to San Diego from flying into LA, or you can fly into San Diego itself. Southwest flies into both of those airports. And they also fly into Ontario, which is east of San Diego and closer to Palm Springs. So that's another potential airport you could fly into and drive over. So it's easily accessible on Southwest. Southwest flies throughout California to many different cities. So it makes it pretty easy to get to. So I want to just tell you, some of the reasons why I love San Diego and how we first traveled there. And then what I'm going to do is break it into the different areas of San Diego, because there are many diverse and wonderful areas there. And I'm going to just kind of give you a tour of some of our favorite areas within the city. So one reason San Diego holds a special place in my heart is because it was the first trip that we took as a family where we flew everyone entirely free on Southwest points. And it was also the first time we used our Southwest Companion Pass. So this was in October of 2015, and we decided to go there on our kids' fall break. So really prior to this point, we hardly ever traveled. We maybe did a car trip here or there. We might fly to Disney very, very rarely. We really just didn't have the budget to fly a family of 4 anywhere. Because if you look even now, about the best price you can come up with is $250 round trip. So that's $1,000 out of pocket anytime you wanted to take a vacation. So that just wasn't in our budget. So once we had this all figured out in 2015, we decided to take our kids to San Diego for the first time. And it was my first time there as well. And so that's extra special just because it was really the first time they had seen California and that we'd actually been able to take a trip of significant distance, just beyond the area of where we lived. And so we really had a wonderful time. And it's a great place for families and kids as well. So let's start then with some of the different areas of San Diego. We have stayed in so many different hotels there. We've been there multiple times and seen a lot of different aspects. So I'm just going to walk you through it, and hopefully I can get you as excited about San Diego as we are. So let's start with downtown San Diego, which is really kind of a hip and happening, fun place to stay. There's lots to do downtown. It's known for its gas lamp quarter, which is like the hip young area. There's a lot of restaurants there, shopping, nightclubs. There's the American Comedy Company there, which my husband and I have gone to a couple times, and we really have a lot of fun. It's down in a cellar, and we've seen some really great comedians there. The San Diego Convention Center is downtown. It's pretty famous. It's very large, and it hosts Comic-Con every year in July, and we were able to go in 2017. That was something my husband had always wanted to do, so we were able to cross that off our bucket list a couple of years ago, and it was really quite the experience. Great people watching. We saw a lot of famous people and a lot of the actors and the voices of some of the different shows that we enjoy watching. So it was a one-of-a-kind experience for sure. So another big highlight of downtown is Balboa Park. It is just a ginormous city park in downtown San Diego. It houses the San Diego Zoo, which is also a very iconic attraction in the city. That's a great thing to do with kids. We have actually never done the zoo because by the time we started traveling, our kids were a little older, and I felt like we had been to zoos and aquariums like ad nauseum, and I really never wanted to go in one again, even as cool as the San Diego Zoo, because that's widely regarded as one of the best zoos around. So if you're not zooed out like we were, definitely check that out. It's supposed to have really cool things. But Balboa Park itself is awesome. It doesn't just have the zoo, it just has all kinds of beautiful gardens and a conservatory. And there's multiple museums there, art museums and air and space museum. Certainly worth a afternoon, if not a whole day, just hanging out in the park. And it has shuttles in the parks. It's so big to help you get to the different parts. Another thing you might want to check out is Old Town San Diego. This is a little bit north of downtown, and it is the settlement, the site of California's first settlement in 1769. It's a little bit touristy, so I wouldn't plan to spend too much time there, but you can walk through some historic buildings, and there's some kind of Mexican restaurants, and they have luminarias at night, which is really cool. But it's a way to get a little bit of a sense of San Diego's history. Now, another fun thing to do downtown, this is close to the convention center. The downtown is right on San Diego Bay, so you can opt for hotels that are kind of more in the downtown buildings, commerce area, or you can opt for hotels that sit on the bay. And we did stay during Comic-Con because the hotels just totally fill up for that, and you're limited to what is available. We got our hotel through Comic-Con, and we stayed at the Wyndham San Diego Bayside. So that had really beautiful views over the bay, which is really, really nice. And it was otherwise just sort of a standard hotel room. It did have a nice outdoor pool we were able to enjoy in between Comic-Con stuff to kind of relax for a little bit. But just past the convention center is Seaport Village. You can walk along the bay down to it, and it's a little touristy too, but it's a cute little shopping center with like 17 different restaurants, just kind of a little charming village area that you might want to check out. But we like hanging out in the Gaslamp District, and I have a blog post, which you can see at gototravelgal.com/San Diego. all one word. And I listed out 35 of our top things to do there, but I go into more detail about some of the restaurants where we've eaten and that we enjoyed and that I recommend. So definitely in the Gaslamp Quarter, have some recommended restaurants. But we just enjoy like walking around downtown and seeing all of that. The USS Midway aircraft carrier is also on the bay right over there. And that's supposed to be the most popular family attraction in San Diego. So if you're interested in military history, what it would be like to live on an aircraft carrier, you can get that full experience over there. That's not something we've done either because we've been on other aircraft carriers in other cities. All right. So in terms of other hotels downtown, I just want to mention a couple. So I mentioned the Wyndham San Diego Bayside. We have also stayed at the Hotel Republic, which is right in the heart of downtown. It's a hip boutique hotel that's part of the Autograph Collection from Marriott. Really, really nice. I always like boutique hotels if I can opt for that. So that was a really, really cool one. And there's also, if you're looking for something less expensive, there's the Holiday Inn Express, and that we've stayed there for a night or two coming in and out of San Diego. It was perfectly fine. It's a little bit on the north side of downtown, but you can still walk to things that you would like to access. And again, it was inexpensive and perfectly fine. And then there's also a Kimpton Palomar, and I love Kimpton hotels. Haven't stayed in that one, but there is one, again, right in the heart of downtown, very boutique style hotel. So those are the ones where we have stayed downtown that I can tell you about and recommend. Now let's move a little bit of north downtown to Little Italy. And this is one of my favorite parts of San Diego. I love Italian food. I love Italy. I'm learning to speak Italian. So wherever I can find a little sense of Italian culture and some authentic Italian food, like I am totally in. And San Diego has a really great Little Italy community, and it's just north of the downtown area. It's an easy walk. If you like, we like to walk as much as we can when we're traveling. So helps you burn off the calories of all the delicious food that you're eating. So head north into Little Italy. Try to go there once or twice while you're there and enjoy dinner. And again, in my San Diego post, I offer some specific restaurant recommendations, but it's a charming little area to just people watch or to grab a slice of pizza, have an authentic Italian meal, and just hang out one evening. It's really cool. Highly recommend. Okay, now outside of downtown is Coronado Island, and that's just across San Diego Bay. Coronado is known to be one of the most beautiful beaches in all of the country. It's ranked at the top every year by different media outlets, and it is gorgeous. So if you can afford it, and if you have the points for it, we recommend to stay at Hotel del Coronado. It's known as the Del locally. This is a historic property. You probably know its iconic red roofs that you've seen before. And I always share a picture of my family standing in front, again, of our first trip to San Diego and using our companion pass. So very memorable for us. We stayed a couple nights there. The beach is beautiful. The hotel is lovely. It's supposed to be haunted. So that's kind of fun if you're into that kind of thing. It is a Hilton property, so you can use Hilton points. We woke up one morning, my son and I, and we were looking out to the beach, and we could see things in the water. And we were like, what is that? Is that dolphins jumping out of the water, or is there sharks swimming in the water? And so we decided to go down to the beach and check it out. It was Navy SEALs in training in the water. So my younger son at the time was super into the military. He just thought that was the coolest thing he'd ever seen. So there are multiple military bases around San Diego. If you're staying on Coronado, like a helicopter flies over multiple times a day, and legitimately the Navy SEALs train right there. They might run by you when you're on the beach. Really, really cool. Another great thing to do on Coronado, it's a really charming island with just super cute houses. And so you can rent a bike. You can rent one from the Coronado if you're staying there. They have a bike rental place called Pedals. And you can ride around the whole island. So that's a great calorie burning activity. And it's always a great way to see a location out in the fresh air. Not from behind a car window. And you can actually pedal around to the Bay View. And there's a little marketplace over there called Ferry Landing. So we did that, and we stopped and we had lunch there, and then we came back around to the hotel. So that's a really fun activity. And you can also rent boats if you like to boat, and you cruise around San Diego Bay. And there's always tons of sea lions out there, and it gives you just a good view of the skyline and the marinas and different things that are out there. Okay, so we've got Coronado, we got downtown, we got Little Italy. So let's head north. We really haven't gone south of that area. There are some things down there, but I can't really speak to them. So Tijuana is just across the border in Mexico, and I know that's a popular thing to do, and they've made it much easier, I think, to cross the border. Maybe not during coronavirus, but during normal times. So if you head north, is Mission Beach, and this is a really popular beach area. It also has Mission Bay, which is a lot of different bays and waterways, which is really, really pretty area. This is where you'll find SeaWorld San Diego, and we have been there, and we found that to be really fun. They have some great roller coasters, so even for older kids would enjoy it. There's Shamu the whale. You can dine with Shamu, and he pops up on a little platform next to you while you're eating. And they really do a lot to educate you about their role in rescuing sea life around the area. And they have like a whole area where they've rescued all these different sea lions, and you can learn about that and take a behind the scenes tour. And then they take them back out once they're healthy so they can be back, in their natural environments. That's really cool. So SeaWorld is right there. We have stayed at the San Diego Mission Bay Resort, and it was actually a Hilton when we stayed there. I loved this resort. It's right on Mission Bay, so it's not on the beach, but it's on a bay, and it's just a lovely hotel. They have very large rooms. They have patios, which each have fire pits, and then you can get kits with like marshmallows and um, roasting sticks to make s'mores outside your hotel room. And then you can just walk to the bay. And there's this lovely walkway, which is full of locals, doing their morning, afternoon, evening walks and walking their dogs. And so I loved getting up every morning and taking a long walk and then doing another one as the sun was setting over the bay in the evening. And they have kayak rentals and paddle boats and fun things like that. There's a beautiful pool there with palm trees. And there's also excellent restaurants right there at the property. So I highly recommend that one. And another fun thing to do in Mission Bay is they have the classic California boardwalk amusement park on Mission Beach. So it's called Belmont Park, and you can head over there and do some of those, like quintessential boardwalk amusement park rides that you would see, along the East Coast and along the California coast. So that's a fun activity to do with kids. From there, just north is Pacific Beach, and you can actually walk between the two. It's about a 30-minute walk along the beach. You can go from Mission Beach north up to Pacific Beach. And we stayed in Pacific Beach after Comic-Con because we wanted to just kind of hang out, have some beach time after being so busy attending all these different events at Comic-Con. We spent a couple nights at the Blue Sea Beach Hotel, which is just a classic California beach hotel, but it was very boutiquey and had like fun classic games in the lobby, and they had beach chairs and surfboards and stuff that you could borrow to take out on the beach. So that's a fun thing. And Pacific Beach kind of has the vibe of Venice Beach, if you're familiar with that in LA. Again, great people watching. It's a very young population. They call it the PB in San Diego, if you're a San Diego local. Again, there's some fun restaurants around there. It's a great place to like hang out at the beach and eat a burger and fries and watch people going up and down the beach and doing their workouts and selling different things. So that's a very different San Diego experience if you want to head to the beach. Now, one of our favorite areas, again, further north of Pacific Beach, is La Jolla. La Jolla is one of the most beautiful places we have ever seen. It is known for like these cliffs along the Pacific Ocean in San Diego. Beautiful, beautiful. It's one of the wealthiest zip codes supposedly in the country, and we had a Lyft driver who said it was even more expensive than Beverly Hills. Don't know if that's right or not, but very expensive elite area. So it's fun to have a look-see around there at some of the houses. And one time I did an electric bike tour with Fly Rides San Diego, or San Diego Fly Rides, I think it is. That was so fun. If you've never done an electric bike, I highly recommend it. It basically is, it's not like riding a motorcycle, but it's like pedaling a bike, except you get extra power when you're pedaling. So it makes it much more pleasant to bicycle around a large area without getting so exhausted. So he did a tour of the different houses there. And in fact, he took us to, there's a surfing spot there that's very popular. There's big waves in this area. So it's really popular with surfers. And this is where the Beach Boys got their start. And there's surf breaks there that are created by underwater reefs. So it's called Wind and Sea Beach, and that sort of like runs all together as one word. It's not wind and sea, it's WINDANSEA, Wind and Sea Beach. And you can still see the surf shack that's still there and is now a historic landmark, which hosted some of those beach parties that you think of, like surfers hanging out at a California beach, but in the 1950s, and it's where the Beach Boys played sometimes. So that's kind of a cool little interesting factoid. La Jolla was also the home of Dr. Seuss, and supposedly a lot of his stories, the characters in them were based upon the wildlife that you see in this area, and you can actually see what looks just like the Lorax tree, and it's where people think he got the idea for the tree from that story. And you can see that tree in my post at gototravelgal.com/San Diego. So this area is full of wildlife. Kids love it. And this is a totally free thing you can do. Just go wander around La Jolla. There's plenty of like upscale shopping to do too, if you want to do that. But we just love to do like the outdoor. Every time we're there, we go to La Jolla and we walk around and see all this stuff. So there's sea lions in boatloads in this area. And you're supposed to stay a certain distance from them, but they really pay no attention to people. So you can get quite close within the legal regulations of what you're supposed to do. And you can just watch them carry on. They're loud and they're noisy and they bark and they roll over each other. It's quite entertaining. You can hang out and watch them for a while. They don't smell great, but they are fun to watch. And there's also another area called the Children's Pool, which was originally supposed to be like a shallow area of the ocean where children could hang out, but seals end up taking it over. So it's now like this beach where seals come in and they sun on this beach. And you see a lot of baby seals, and seals are much more shy. So you have to be a lot more careful around them that you don't spook them and cause them to go off when they're trying to rest. Like this is their rest time so they can regather their energy. So kids will love all that. During certain times of the year, I think it's in the summer, there's leopard sharks that come into this La Jolla Cove area, and it's known to have like some of the most diverse marine life in all the world, this cove area, because of the temperatures and how it's positioned, like north and south. And the leopard sharks are harmful. So you can like get in there and snorkel with them, or you can just watch them from above. Really, really cool. Lots of wildlife in this area. It's super fun to just walk around and look at it. And there's a great little pathway that you can take. There's also sea caves here, and there's something called the cave store. You can walk down you go into the cave store, and then it has like stairs where you just walk down into a sea cave. And it does cost to do that, but it's not very much. And again, great afternoon thing to do. You can also kayak through sea caves, and it sort of depends on how choppy the ocean is that day. If it's choppy, you kind of go in front of them. If it's not too bad, you can go into the sea caves. And I recommend Everyday California. That's who we did it with. That was super fun. You're actually kayaking out on the ocean, which is neat. And then the opportunity to check out these sea caves in the area. There's an aquarium here called Birch Aquarium. So if you want to learn more about this diverse marine life, you can check that out. And also, in terms of hotels, there are a variety of different hotels around here. There's a Hilton, there's a Hyatt. There's the Grand Colonial, which is a really pretty historic one. And then we have stayed at La Valencia, another beautiful historic hotel that's known as the Pink Lady. It's this big pink hotel there. It's sort of Mediterranean style hotel. Nothing is on the beach here. There's very small little beach areas. It's not the best place if you want to hang out and swim in the ocean, but it is just a beautiful views of the Pacific and the cliffs in this area. So it looks out on the ocean, but you're not like able to walk down onto a beach or anything. So we highly recommend La Valencia. Also in this area is Torrey Pines State Reserve. So if you like state parks, national parks, you like hiking, this is the place to go for that. So you can hike along the cliffs there with some beautiful Pacific Ocean views. There's a golf course in this area, which is gorgeous. It's popular for hang gliding, and there's options to do like shorter hikes or longer hikes with some elevation changes if you want. Very beautiful. Another thing to see here is Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial. The reason to see this is it's, I think, the highest point in the city. And so the views are phenomenal. You can see all the way south to Mexico and all the way north to mountains with snow on the top. Definitely a must do in San Diego. And when I took the electric bike tour with San Diego Fly Rides, that was part of it. So we actually did this big climb on an electric bike, and it wasn't bad at all. And then you were out in the open air and you're able to enjoy the views. But this is actually is a veterans memorial where it honors the lives of something like more than 3,000 veterans who have died, not necessarily while in service, but just who did serve our country and who have died since. And there's some very famous ones. Their pictures are all up there, and it has a giant 27-foot cross. That's how you know you're in the right place. And you can see that because it's so big at a lot of places in the city. All right. Those are kind of our main areas that we really enjoy. Some other key things to see would be Point Loma. This is close back to downtown, and it's a big point that stretches out into the Pacific. And you can see it also from Coronado. You look north and you see Point Loma. But the place to go out here is called Cabrillo National Monument, and it honors the first European, Juan Cabrillo, to visit the U.S. West Coast. We just did this on our last trip there. We had never done it before. This was amazing. So you drive out there, because it sticks way out in the Pacific. It's gorgeous. And again, you see these cliffs. There's amazing hikes out here. The views are phenomenal. And then a fun thing to do, and this is also the case in La Jolla, is tide pools collect in these kind of cliffs at low tide. And so different sea life get trapped in the tide pools, like octopus and fish and just some really fun things. So you can go down there and you can see these different creatures, that are trapped temporarily until the tide comes back in. So again, that's a fun thing for kids, particularly kids that love, things like that, animals and fish and marine life. And I've got one of those, so he's all about that. So that's a definite, highly recommended things to do. You can also see whales from there, and usually in January and February is when they're making their migration. So you can see, you have great views out into the Pacific where you can see them breaching. We have yet to see a whale in San Diego. I saw a little bit of one when we were in Santa Barbara on our way out to the Channel Islands, but that's about all I can say. Someday I'm going to see a big whale. Also in this area, as you're driving out to Cabrillo National Monument, is Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery. This is also beautiful. Is that a theme I have going on here? Is beautiful. But this is a military cemetery, and if you had to pick a view to rest in peace, man, this is it. It is phenomenal. And I do have pictures again in my post. So check that out. It's hard to describe without you seeing it visually. I also have some on my Instagram, Go To Travel Gal, as well. One other popular thing to do in San Diego area is Legoland, and it is the farthest north of anything I've talked about. It's in an area called Carlsbad, which is also a cute little beach town, and Carlsbad also has a lot of spa resorts and golf resorts if you like that kind of a thing. And so Legoland is up there. We have done that twice. It's really more for younger kids, I would say. Kids that are kind of really into Legos, of course, but the rides are they're not like thrill rides. So they're just more oriented toward little kids. But it is definitely something fun to do. I enjoy just seeing they have, the whole world, like different cities built in Legos that you can walk around and see. You can see London, and they have a whole Star Wars thing. And so that I thought was really fun. And the hotels up there are also really, really cute. So that's definitely worth a stay. So the Legoland California Hotel, and they have different themed rooms like pirates and princesses and um, the knights. So you can pick which kind of room you stay in, and the rooms are super duper adorable. They have like toilets made for little kids, it's like toddler age options. There's a disco elevator. Like, how fun is that? The disco ball comes on when you get in the elevator, and even a whoopee cushion on the floor. Like, what kid's not going to like that? So that is definitely a fun thing about San Diego. And then one other last tip I want to give you is that every October, San Diego hosts Kids Free San Diego. So that means kids get in free to a lot of attractions, or they get in at a discounted price, and hotels and restaurants, not all of them, but a good bit of them participate, and they have discounts for kids. So that's a good time to visit. And in terms of times to visit, we have been in October. We've been all different kinds of times of the year. October was probably our favorite time. The weather was really, really great, and it didn't seem overly crowded. It can get kind of hot in the summer, but probably not as hot as we get here in Indianapolis, where it gets to 95. It tends to be more mild. They think it's hot when it gets in the 80s there. So it's a little warmer in the summer. We've been there in December, and it was in the 50s, I would say. At that time, people were all bundled up in gloves and hats, and which to us, it felt warm. Like we were sitting outside having dinner one night because it was much warmer than it was, of course, back in Indiana. So there's really not a bad time of year to visit San Diego. They also have a lot of beautiful colleges and universities there that are worth a look, just to drive through their campuses to see. But all around, I can't say enough good things about San Diego. It is a great place, whether you like adventure, whether you like hanging out at the beach, whether you like shopping, whether you like theme parks, you're a Comic-Con nerd, whatever. There is just something fun there to do for everyone. You just cannot go wrong. If you're ready to fly your family free forever, I invite you to join my family's Flyfree membership. You'll learn how to stop paying for airfare throughout the US, Caribbean, and Europe, so you can make those priceless family travel memories before your kids or even your grandkids leave home for good. And you'll learn it using my simple, proven formula that's helped hundreds of families. Plus, it's risk-free. You either get your investment in the membership back in free travel, or I give you your money back. You can get more information at familiesflyfree.com/join.